Hey everybody, my name is Jamie, and this video is 5 tips on better polyamory. This is really intended for anybody who's interested in open relationships, whether that be as a swinger, polyamorous, ethical non-monogamy, whatever that means to you, because I think that we have some really toxic ideas around how to get going in polyamory, and a lot of pain can happen. So let's talk a little bit about how we do that in a healthy way. My first tip is to find community and friends that are not partners of yours, but in the lifestyle that you're into. So I could also apply this honestly to BDSM and kink as well, but let's specifically talk about polyamory, because when it comes to other people in your life who might be supportive, like friends or family members, when it comes to the complexity that comes within polyamory, you'll find that they are ill-equipped to actually help you with that. So the ideas around compersion or my partner's partner or nesting situations, like the things that we think about in polyamory that are a little bigger than the typical monogamous relationship, become really difficult. So I really recommend finding support groups or friends or people who are in a similar lifestyle to you, so that when challenges come up, you actually have someone you can talk to about those things who's not your partner or the person that you're actually in conflict with. I think this next one will come as no surprise to anybody who has been practicing polyamory, but this one is rigorous self-reflection. That is to say that most of us go through that thing where we are unsure of where our feelings are coming from because there's just so much bombardment from the outside or from what's happening with you, or you're in conflict with one of your partners and you have something that you need to resolve. So this is about understanding where your feelings are coming from and really being able to own it when, it's coming from a petty place or from a triggered place, and having the tools for yourself to explain those things and to process those things. I am a huge fan of therapy. I really love coaches. I love the mindset world. And I also have found a lot of help really in journaling. Like just writing your thoughts out really helps a lot. And you can realize that one thing is associated with another. And it helps a lot when you go to talk with your partners. And this is also going to go back to part 1, where you have people in your life who are platonic connections within these more open lifestyles, which is going to help, again, with processing, because processing with other people is amazing. Number 3, the important thing is safe communication in a particular time and place. So in relationships, we can just keep moving and moving and moving, and we end up picking up on like small conflicts or miscommunications that just get kind of swept under the rug. And the thing is that those things can become larger and larger, even if it's just like, this thing happened and it was slightly uncomfortable, and I just want to acknowledge it and let you know that I was feeling slightly uncomfortable. Nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with anything else. Just if we keep doing it, I may end up in a very uncomfortable place. Or, you had an interaction with a family member that you were just unsure about and need to process out loud. So having a time and place to actually talk those things through, or an understanding that just like, if you have something hard to talk about, maybe you have some words that let people know that there is a thing to talk about. Because when you're having hard emotions, you don't necessarily just want to blurt them out at any old time. Like, someone's on their way to work, somebody is feeling hungry, is getting ready to do a thing, somebody is not ready for that conversation. I'm thinking right now of the HALT acronym, which is about hungry, angry, lonely, tired, horny. There's all kinds of stuff on that list. So the idea is let people know that you need a time and place to talk with them, and make sure that you have time and that you're rested and you ate something and you're not drunk and all of those lovely things. So having a space for safe communication. If you do not feel safe, just at all talking to your partner, you really need to reassess whether or not you should be in that relationship, because open communication is really important. My next tip is that on top of having a time and place to have those serious conversations, you also need to have a time and place for intimacy and togetherness. And I'm not just talking about sexuality when I talk about intimacy. I also mean things like cooking together, sharing hobbies and activities, or it could be, I love time in the hot tub. That's kind of my thing. Think about your love languages. Like, how are the ways that you like to express your love? What are the ways that you like to receive love? And are you actually putting those things in your schedule? It sounds a bit maybe clinical to say it that way, but I have found I'm the type of person who really needs to schedule things like fun, because I will forget about it and I'll become harder with people and, less less smiling, and wondering what the problem is. And it's usually that I haven't put enough fun things in my own schedule and my own life. So making sure that you are making time for fun and for joy, not just with your partners, but also with friends, your partners, like thinking about the way that you want to construct the relationships in your life and to make sure that they're fun, because that's a huge part of why we do this, is to get this enjoyment from it. All right, last, related to all of these things, if you are in these types of relationships that are open and a little bit new, then I also recommend finding good resources. This is a great resource for you on this website, and it's also got support groups, but I would also like to highly recommend Sex Positive World as a place to connect with polyamorous people. The Polyamory podcast is also very good. And there's a number of books that have been written on this topic that I also highly recommend. And don't put it off. Get the book. Read it. Just a page a day. You would be surprised how much you learn. I really recommend the book The Ethical Slut if you are just getting started. It's kind of the Bible of ethical non-monogamy. It's going to highlight a lot of different versions and how to approach it and ways to do conversations. I also highly recommend the book Polysecure, which is all about our attachment styles and how they may show up in our relationships through the lens of polyamory. I suppose if I were to give you a third book, it would be Love's Not Colorblind by Kevin Patterson, who has this really great way of looking at how all of these different groups come together, whether that be from swinging or polyamory or BDSM, and how different levels of oppression and ways that we can misunderstand each other all come out. But he has this great way of looking at it from a wider scope that I think is a really interesting perspective. So that's my list of 5. Can you think of other things that are really important tips for other people who are in poly relationships? Please drop them in the comments. I'd really like to know. If you want to join me for my poly discussion group, I'd love to see you there. Go to giveandconsent.com to go and sign up. And until next time, my friends, love you more.